Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Gwent, and today we're playing a standard mode deck that is designed to farm quests for the new Winter Cycle rewards. So let's go give it a look. So today we'll be playing a Skellige, Onslaught, Pirate/Ships, Iron Judgment / Ouroboros deck designed to farm quests for the Winter Cycle rewards, while being as viable as we can make it while still completing that objective. This deck is not designed to get you to pro rank because it only uses cards that contribute toward those Winter Cycle quests. Early in a round, we can play the Armored Drakkar as a unit that we can damage to get additional value, and then damage it with the Terror Crew Plunerer, or if our opponent has gone first, then we can damage them instead, or we can play the Axe-wielder to deal additional damage to our opponent, and this is another card that we can damage ourselves so that we can get even more damage from it. We can use Stunning Blow to answer our opponent's engines, or if we've already damaged some of our opponent's units, we can play Abordage to deal even more damage while also getting a pirate on the board. We also have Heulyn, who can be a little bit of a round finisher since she's 7 points, and if we have more humans on the board is worth even more than that, but more importantly, she gives us 5 Skellige bronze humans in our graveyard at the start of the match, which means in round 1, we can start using Freya's Blessing, which could give us any of a number of things, allowing us to get great value from Otkell later on. We also have Kaer Trolde for carryover value, and lots of damage from our gold pirates and ships like Terror of the Seas, Yustianna, Morkvaarg, and Hjalmar, which in many cases you probably want to save for round 3, and in the case of Hjalmar, not only is he giving you damage, but we also have several ways to give our units armor, so you can also get a fair bit of boost from him as well. So that's how the deck plays, and it can help you with finishing quests for Iron Judgment, Ouroboros, damage, boosts, armor, and locations. And possibly even more. I just haven't seen all the possible quests yet because it's still relatively early. So that's the primary thing that this deck is designed for, but hopefully it helps you get a few wins along the way as well. So let's go see it in action. Alright, so going up against Scioa'tael here, and we'll go first. Okay, so especially on blue coin when we don't have anything on our opponent's side of the board to interact with, probably looking to play the Armored Drakkar on turn 1, and the Terror Crew Plunder, we'd like to play with that to get this boosted up and boost you up in the process as well. We do have a few pirates we can play with Abordage, so if we get enough damage, we can make that happen. We don't, I guess the Terror Crew Axe-wielders could be a way to make some of that damage happen, as well as our stratagem, so that shouldn't be a huge concern. Maybe we can dump one of you. Get another Abordage. Okay, target 1, target 2, I get, maybe target 3. I guess we can make this work. It's fairly bronze-centric. Obviously, if we do get the Abordages to work, then we will draw cards. Hopefully we can draw into some of our bigger stuff. But it is a little bit on the light side here. We do also have a raiding fleet, which can help thin things out a little bit more. Let's start with you. In fact, I'm half tempted to put you in the melee row. Usually that's a little more dangerous against Scioa'tael, but we kind of want you to take damage. And they are, of course, an Invigorate deck, so expecting to see some hand buff here, and maybe that means it's a little less likely that they're going to focus on the damage on that Drakkar. And focus a little bit more on doing more hand buff. So you are not really a card that we are super concerned about targeting. You've already done your thing. They might try to replay you, but that's fairly unlikely. So in that case, we could raiding fleet you. Yeah, it's over bleeding a little bit. It might get another Armored Drakkar out from our deck. Otherwise, it might be a Funeral Boat, which we have any in hand? I'm not seeing any, so maybe that's a little bit more likely. Let's do it. It is a Funeral Boat. I think that is preferable, because at a certain point, we would not have enough self-damage to proc all the exposed on these Drakkars. And getting damaged cards is, of course, going to be a little bit tricky against Invigorate. Alright, like it's Dunka, who is already fairly highly boosted. And that is possibly the worst card for us to see, because with that Veil, we really don't want to hit her with the Ceremonial Dagger, which otherwise would have been our best way to facilitate using Abordage and getting that Bloodthirst 2 condition. Not really sure we want to do that with Dunka. The armor as well makes that tricky. And we do have the Axe-wielder, who can help us get closer. Drop you down to 6. with Ceremonial Dagger. I mean, with a leader ability as well, you can make it happen. It's just not the most efficient way to do all that stuff, so I don't love it. And Stunning Blow, if we get lucky with what Funeral Boat hits, might just outright remove Dunka. So maybe we just try this. And we did get a little bit lucky there. So that's very nice. However, lucky in the sense that Dunka went down. Unlucky in the sense that getting damaged cards on the board is still going to remain a very difficult thing to do now that this is going to get destroyed in all likelihood and Dunka is completely gone. Alright, the Riot Dragoon. He'll go the damaging route. You're removed. You're boosted by 2, which, and you're not a bad target for the Ceremonial Dagger. You've already done your deploy ability, yes, but we can damage you, benefit from the bleed as well. Still means we kind of need to stall for a turn before you become relevant, and since we're trying to use you as the Abordage targets, that means we're a little bit handcuffed here. We could go Boatbuilders and use that to give more armor to the Funeral Boat, just to keep this a little bit safe, since it is getting a little bit vulnerable here. So maybe we'll do that. There were theoretically going to be better long-term targets for Boatbuilders to go after. Technically, if we had used our stratagem first, would have gotten a little more armor on Boatbuilders, would have been slightly better. I think we'll be fine. Not really expecting them to target this. Graveyard Hate. Ooh, we do have stuff in our graveyard. We do have stuff in our graveyard. And you're also not a bad target to go after, which we can now do. So if we hit you, we'll be at Bloodthirst 2, so that is nice. And maybe we'll even prioritize the Axe-wielder for damage instead of the Terror Crew Plunder, which we could also use for damage, but I was thinking that was going to be to hit our own Drakkar for boosting. So I think we do this. We do, although, we do that, we drop you to 2, that means if they don't play another unit on their next turn, then our next Abordage does not have Bloodthirst 2. I mean, they're probably going to play another unit, right? Right? I think we're still okay dealing this damage here. But we are making this a little close. A little close. And to tell the truth, Xavier is not an incredibly concerning card for us to see. I think he's probably not about to remove every single unit from our graveyard, and we don't have any Freya's Blessings at the moment, nor do we have Otkell, so it's not as if that is an immediately pressing concern. So now we could go Abordage, we could even remove a Neophyte, and then we get Terror Crew Plunderer out here. We could either remove Xavier, remove Riot Dragoon, or we hit our own Drakkar, and, you know, you can make a case for just about any of those things. One thing you can't do is remove either of these with Abordage. Let's hit you. Could go Yustianna, although she doesn't really have enough armor to justify that, I don't think. That was very nice. I liked that a lot. That was very fortunate damage. I think we'll go for the boosting in that case. And we'll give the armor to you still, I think. So they're gonna convert you, is the right move, which is one of the reasons why you could have made the case for going a little bit more aggressive on the damage with the Terror Crew Plunder, but unnecessary. They saw us remove their biggest cards and decided that's all they wanted to do in this round, so we're in round 1. Okay, and after doing a fair bit of thinning in round 1, suddenly we are now drawing into a lot of our big cards. Heulyn, mostly, it's just a potential finisher, although Hjalmar and Covenant of Steel, those are very nice. We drew into Yustianna mid-round. We could use Kaer Trolde as a card here if we wanted to push a little bit. Otkell is a bit of a liability at the moment because we did not get any of our Freya's Blessings. So as strong as he can be, I think we kind of need to mulligan him here, as unfortunate as that may seem. So yeah, the big question is, do we drive past since we did play one more card than them, and we risk going down a card in round 3? Or do we push at least a little bit, in large part because we have Kaer Trolde, so we can at least get the resilience on this? That might be reason enough. What else would we be willing to play in this round? I mean, we got Terracrew Plunder, which is a throwaway of sorts, and Heulyn can be a throwaway. Yustianna doesn't really have enough armor to justify using her all that aggressively. Terror of the Seas does. So, I guess we do this at the very least. We'll see what we get here. Longship is nice. Yeah. If nothing else, they play a card or two and we have the potential to get some additional armor on some of these pirates that we only recently drew into. Okay, the Farseer is, of course, giving them a lot of boosts. And we assume that they're looking for a card like a Glace, or, I always forget which dwarf it is who does the damage, but you know what I mean. Damage finisher or boosting finisher. They would love to have Last Say, so in some ways, us risking losing Last Say by playing in this round may not have been a great idea. I mean, we could pass here, for what it's worth. We pass here, and they're going to have to play at least one more card to catch us. We'll both be on 9 cards. We will have the carryover from Kaer Trolde. Might get a little more armor from the Longship, which would be nice. Once that damages something, so that's a relatively safe thing to do. Otherwise, I mean, it's not ideal. Play a proactive Terror of the Seas and just don't use it. I think we passed here, to be honest with you. I think we got it was a very small push in round 2, but we got the carryover value that we were looking for, and we did not have to go a card down, so wasn't that ambitious, but it worked. And we prefer that they go for the damage rather than the lock. That means a little bit more armor for us. Okay, and we have Last Say, and that's a really big deal because we just drew into Morkvaarg. So if they do have a Glace, then we can absolutely ruin their day, as long as they don't play a defender. If they do, we may still have enough damage between Terror of the Seas, Hjalmar, Stunning Blow, and maybe even Yustianna to deal with that. We do draw into Freya's Blessing. Well, perhaps they realize that at this point, without Last Say, they won't be able to stop us. Who knows if they knew we had Morkvaarg, but either way, they'll forfeit. Alright, so going up against Skellige here, and we'll go first. Okay, and we have some useful cards here, like Yustianna and Terror of the Seas. Good to have those in hand early. I think Terror Crew and the Drakkar, or 2 Terror Crews, we can probably dump one of those. This could end up being the Abordage target, although we have potentially more of those available here as well. Funeral Boat, probably a little bit better still. Why don't we... I think we might even... Well, this is probably going to be turn 1 play on blue coin. Rather not drop Funeral Boat without any additional armor, so yeah, okay, we'll start with this. Or maybe even dump Boatbuilders, because Hjalmar is certainly better. I was kind of hoping we might get some setup for the Freya's Blessings so that we could get Otkell happening a little bit more easily, but that can be a little bit tricky to make that happen. We might just need to abandon it. There's a chance we can make it happen with Arcane Tome, though. But as I was saying, why don't we begin with the Drakkar, because I think that is a good way to get us started when we don't have anything to target on our opponent's side. Scald. Okay, so they're doing some discard. We'll have to keep an eye out, see how much discard they do. Are they going to be about the compass? Or is that just a coincidence? And this is mostly just for consistency's sake. Alright, so I will admit, I also did not realize we had Raiding Fleet in hand, which could have been a way to get an Armored Drakkar. Granted, it's not guaranteed, but we might get another one out from our deck here, in which case we kind of have more Drakkars than we know what to do with, because it's going to be hard to get rid of all their armor to get them boosted up. So we only have one of those Terror Crew Plunderers in hand. Might end up giving us a Funeral Boat, though, so let's go for it. It is going to be a Funeral Boat. That's probably preferable, outside of how this is fairly vulnerable. But now we hopefully will have one more damaged card on the board, so we could hit something with Abordage, and then use that to get Terror Crew Plunderer out, and then proc the exposed on this Drakkar. It's more Scald. Okay, so it's a lot of discard. It does mean we'll start getting some additional armor, which is another reason why you want to play the Drakkar early, because we don't really want this to be gaining more armor. We, if anything, want us to stay at just 2. So now we hit you, which means we can play you. We'll draw it into the Covenant of Steel, that's fine. We'll hit ourselves, so we get the boost on the Drakkar and also the boost on the Plunderer. And we'll leave it at that. Okay, operator, what are they doing with this? Okay, they're trying to get a whole bunch of messengers of the sea out here, which, of course, can become a pretty huge engine. We would love for this Drakkar to get hit, because, as I was starting to say, we don't really have any additional great ways to get rid of this armor, but if it gets hit by rain, then that's fine. You are now top priority to get rid of, and just want to take a quick peek at what we had starting in our graveyard here. How many damage cards do you have? 2. If we were to hit with Ceremonial Dagger, that'd give us 3. Onslaught on the Messenger of the Sea could give us 4. I'm wondering, because could this be Freya's Blessing with Arcane Tome? Potentially help set up Otkell and get the damage to remove this Messenger of the Sea, or we just hit you with this. And it's definitely enough, right? I think that is the play. I think you do that. Granted, you know, eventually that would get destroyed, but from the bleed, it's not really all that reliable, since it's, let's see, we'll use you, I think, or you. Either one works, really. Technically speaking. Keeping fewer things in the range roast, that's more likely for this to get hit by the rain would have been a little bit better, perhaps. Now, they may try to get this out from their graveyard. They do have Ryogan in their graveyard as well, so that gives us a sign as to what they might be trying to do here. And also, actually, the double Freya's Blessing discard's very interesting. They may also be trying to do an Otkell here. We, of course, may also be helping them by giving them this Arcane Tome, but that remains to be seen. Yeah, because it did give them an own hero, which obviously I don't feel great about, but we do have a large enough lead here in this round that hopefully that will not be a key difference maker. Well, they're getting another Messenger of the Sea. This was an extremely successful deck, what, about a year ago, right? Some Messenger of the Sea spam. I mean, it's been a long time since I last saw this, but it's looking a lot like what they're trying to do here, of course. Okay, so we could Arcane Tome into a Stunning Blow, and then even play the Stunning Blow from hand, remove both these Messengers of the Sea. Or I think we know what they're trying to do, right? They have 2 Freya's Blessings in their graveyard. They're going to try to use Otkell to get multiple Messengers of the Sea out on the board on the same turn, probably as a round 3 win condition. We don't have any graveyard hate stuff, so we can't really prevent them from doing that. Mostly we could just try to win this round. And I think that might still be the plan, is to go exactly that route. Yes, it does mean we're giving them back the Arcane Tome, but I think we just live with that. Especially when we have the Funeral Boat on the board. That does make this very nice for dealing damage. Granted, we could have gotten another Funeral Boat on the board. We kind of like, however, to end the round right around here. And they'll just forfeit. So there you have it. Answer the Messengers of the Sea, and we'll win. Alright, it's going up against Nilfgaard here. And they'll go first. Okay, so on red coin, we can potentially go straight into some of our more damage-oriented cards. And presumably this is going to be a lot of soldiers, so they're probably going to have some damage of their own here. I think we can dump the Plunderer. Morkvaarg is very nice. Do like a Freya's Blessing or 2 to set up Otkell, because we do have him in hand. We could get another Freya's Blessing from Arcane Tome, although, of course, that does come with the risk of them using that for their own purposes. We have a lot of golds here that we're going to have to use pretty early, or keep this round fairly short. But if we're willing to use Kaer Trolde in round 1, I think we can still make that work. Okay, well, it's Jan. Of course it's turn 1 Jan. Love that. Love that. What would we like to start off with? Let's just see what the Freya's Blessing options are. We could go Boatbuilders plus Demon Corsair, potentially. Could give us something to work with. Otherwise, let's get 2 Boatbuilders. Put them next to Hjalmar and get tons and tons of armor. That's not really that use. Or Terror of the Seas, powered up that way. We might even be about to drop a turn 1 Kaer Trolde. I think we are. And it's not a bad idea if it's going to give us a long ship to work with, because that hopefully can give us some additional armor. Well, they'll answer with their own location, Bakala. Wait, okay. Technically the wrong row, but sure. And this is also, you know... This combo is obviously incredibly effective. Ridiculously effective. very frustrating to play against. So we can, not that I really want to do this, but we could Morkvaarg that. Now that you put the armor on it, that is actually easier for us to answer it for what it's worth, because we have the stunning blow. So we might even want to do that, because that is an engine that's only going to get bigger, and yeah, let's do it. Get you there, then you finish with the leader ability that way. Still get the bonus damage from using the stunning blow. Naturally, it's another Imperial Marine. Of course it is. Fortunately, this time, it doesn't get the boost from the stratagem. It will still get double boosted, however. And so, for that, Yustianna potentially might be able to get rid of Terror of the Seas, certainly could. We could always Arcane Tome, we could go Kaer Trolde order, although I'd also prefer not to do that just yet. Freya's Blessing, do we have options there for direct damage? Not enough to be meaningful. Might it just be an early Terror of the Seas? I mean, to get rid of an engine, again, maybe it is worth doing that. Maybe it is worth doing that. Okay. Something tells me they are interested in playing an Imperial Marine plus Jan combo. Just starting to get that sense a little bit. We do have a little more armor on Yustianna, so Yustianna is a little bit better, at least at surviving. Still dealing the same amount of damage, still relatively unlikely to destroy you unless we went leader ability, and then it's pretty likely, but still not guaranteed. We could go Arcane Tome, and with that, get a stunning blow. Yeah, I was gonna say, would we potentially be able to make Abordage work? Not easily, not unless we used another leader ability charge, and that's not exactly something I'm trying to do right now. But, you know, I really didn't want to do this. I think we are going to do it, though. Stunning blow. Remove you here. Is it overkill damage? A little bit, yes. Is it shutting down an engine? Yes. Does it give them Arcane Tome on their side? Yes. Was that worth it? Probably not, to be honest. Certainly not if they're about to play battle stations. I mean, they're going to play this at some point in time, but, you know, just play all the overpowered cards while you're at it. Why not? Why not? It's not like it's any different from what anyone else is doing. It's not like... Oh, well. They load to the Uncrate Longship. Obviously, you're going to use leader ability charge there, although that was kind of funny for a second. Battle preparation on one of them. Okay, I mean, it's not a big play, but given how they had a ridiculous... I mean, given how they had the strongest card in the game, it doesn't matter what they do, because they will basically automatically win this round now. So, I think we will pass at this stage. We will have one more card than them. We will have the Resilience Order from Kaer Trolde. But, I mean, it's Nilfgaard. It's modern Gwent. They're going to try to push, so we'll have to be prepared for that in round 2. Okay, so we draw into an Abordage. We do still have a lot of pirates in our hand. Do we have enough damage to make sure we get the Bloodthirst 2? That'll be a little bit tricky. Certainly Yustianna could help make that happen, though. Raiding fleet. We still have a lot of boats in our deck, so that should be fine. Covenant of Steel, not a terrible idea. Freya's Blessing, did we use one of the... No, that's our original one. We were just talking about that a lot in round 1. So, Otkell's still a tricky one. I think we dump this Boatbuilders and try to get this second Freya's Blessing. Okay, we don't get it. So worst comes to worst, we could Freya's Blessing plus Otkell if we really needed to. They have at least one throwaway card, but they won't even take that. Wow, I'm extremely surprised by that. From Nilfgaard of all factions. It's a respectful play to drive past there, but that's not something I expect of any Gwent player nowadays. But I digress. Okay, so now we draw back into that Boatbuilders that had some armor, so it's not a terrible thing to have. The Terror Crew Plunderer is not one of our better cards unless we have reason why we really want to self-damage, which we get raiding fleet into this Drakkar, then maybe that's of interest to us, but otherwise I think that's what we're really looking for, is the other Freya's Blessing. So let's stick with this, I think. And so with nothing on their side of the board to interact with yet, we have relatively limited options here. It could be a Freya's Blessing, depending on what we get there. Boatbuilders, nothing on the deployability, but at least the order is ready to go for whatever we play on subsequent turns. Or you go Covenant of Steel. Let's just double check what... Oh, Longship would be nice. Longship as soon as possible would be very nice. Let's do it. Could have gone Defender first, yes. Although, you know, I kind of expect them to have something like a Yenvo or some other form of control to answer Defender, so I'm not exactly holding out hope for that. They will immediately lock it. It's Nilfgaard. They have answers for every single card that you play. It's the Yenvo that I predicted because they have answers for everything. Okay. Now, we should probably play the other Freya's Blessing just so that we can use Otkell whenever we want. Either that or we go the Raiding Fleet. Yeah, you know, Raiding Fleet might not be a bad idea. That way we can potentially have a Funeral Boat on the board for when we start putting a whole bunch of stuff in our graveyard. Don't necessarily know that that's going to happen, but try it. And granted, no, we're going to get the Drakkar instead. That's kind of unfortunate, but they are Nilfgaard soldiers, so they might have damage, in which case, they will very likely have more damage, in which case the Drakkar does do well against that. Nausicaa Sergeant, Point Slam, and it's going to be what? Slave Drivers. You know, just play all the overpowered cards. Why not, right? That's all we do in Gwent. Okay, so one card is damaged. If we can get another card damaged, then we can use Abordage, and we are still have some pirates, so it's not desperate that we do that immediately, but we would kind of like to do that soon. And, well, it's our last raid card in hand. So in fact, we would like to wait until we've already played Hjalmar before doing that. Hjalmar, of course, is almost certainly going to be immediately answered in some way as well. Would have liked to put the Drakkar in the melee row, to tell you the truth, for that reason, so we could have put it next to Hjalmar. That would have been nice. We'll have to settle for Boatbuilders instead, I guess. Give the armor to you, because we don't actually want to give you armor. And there's all the other control. Okay, so we need to play Hjalmar on this turn. This turn. Otherwise, we're gonna get Ramon destroyed and we're gonna lose one of our damaged cards. So what we do here is we go Hjalmar, hit Nausicaa Sergeant. Nausicaa Sergeant survives, so does Hjalmar. But that means that you have 2 damage cards, so we can use Abordage on our next turn, get the boosts from doing that. I mean, otherwise, we could wait and use Onslaught to get something damaged. Yes, that works too. In which case, let's Freya's Blessing. Let's do it to get another Boatbuilders. And maybe make that combo a little bit stronger. A little bit stronger. Before we actually end up playing Hjalmar. So that way, we can save the combo until very late on, and hopefully at that point, oh look, it's the card that I predicted that they would play, because we know every single card that they have. Rather than doing the thing that gives them lots of points, they're going to instead control every single card that we have, because that's the thing that they can do, because that's the thing that we decided is okay for them to be able to do. Something, this deck is balanced, so I think it's you. I think it's you. I think it's you. Oh, yeah. That's another card we could have potentially put in the melee row to benefit from Hjalmar, but it just hasn't had enough time to receive armor, and it's, you know, all these things are getting locked. Guys, what is this? Have you seen this? You seen the number of locks? Why do we need this many locks? Why is this something that is okay? I don't understand. Usually, you play around control by accepting that your opponent is going to control the first several things that you play, and you delay the important stuff so that you have some things that don't get answered, but everything has been answered. Now, we could do Yustianna. We'd save Abordage for, well, we want to have you on the board before we use Abordage. Tell you what, it might be Morkvaarg here. Don't think they're going to get anything bigger than that. It means more armor for these two. It delays Hjalmar a little bit. I think Yustianna might actually be a better finisher than Morkvaarg, because if we use Yustianna before we use Morkvaarg, it reduces Morkvaarg's value. Yes, War Council is going to give them more boosts, but it's not as if they were going to boost a card that already had a lot of power on it. Okay, I guess they had leader built, but again, they're going to distribute their boosts, right? We'll give them credit for that, at least. This is the one combo that they haven't been able to shut down yet. So this turn needs to be Hjalmar, because Abordage is to play Yustianna. Okay, so Hjalmar, either to destroy Defender. Yeah, I think that is the most efficient thing. So at the moment, we don't technically need it as a way to get more damaged cards. Put you next to the two most highly armored things. Do that. So now it's Abordage into Yustianna. We need to. We hit something with Onslaught. Hopefully that is still possible for us to get something damaged if they do some boosting here. But they're out of leader ability charges, so that should be more feasible for us to make happen. They do have War Council. It's going to Heat Wave Hjalmar because they have answers for everything. They're going to boost a card that almost made it impossible for us to get Abordage, but we can still do this. So we will Abordage and then Yustianna into something. Or, well, not so much a matter of into what, as much as where do we put her, I guess? Which, let's not put her on the row with several cards at 8 power. That feels like a very dangerous thing to do. And look at that! They locked almost everything. Heat Wave, our strongest card, and yet still, they forfeited. So there's a look at a Skellige Pirates, Iron Judgment, Ouroboros deck to farm Winter Cycle quests. If you liked the video, then make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and leave a comment down below to let me know which other cards, archetypes, and factions we should experiment with next. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.